What is EPR? Waste volumes are increasing worldwide, and the environment is being damaged by these growing volumes, inadequate funding, and insufficient waste management expertise. As collecting, sorting, and recycling waste is more expensive than the value of the recyclable materials sold in most countries, the introduction of circular packaging models is often not economically viable. One solution proposed by many policymakers, NGOs, and civil societies to close this gap and cover the net costs is EPR. EPR stands for Extended Producer Responsibility. But what does it mean exactly? EPR is a regulation, not only for producers, but for all actors who put products on the market and are therefore the first to do so, such as producers, importers, and retailers of products known to end up as waste at the end of their life cycle. Following the polluter pays principle, EPR makes this group of people responsible for the management of certain products in the post-consumer phase, including take-back, sorting, and recycling. In this way, EPR discards the outdated linear approach to the production and disposal of materials such as paper, plastic, glass, or electronics and paves the way for a circular economy. Typically, countries start by introducing EPR for a limited number of products, which should then be extended to as many products as possible to achieve greater leverage in terms of waste management and environmental protection. It is particularly important for obligated parties that have to comply with the EPR regulations to consider how they meet and manage certain requirements that accompany the introduction of EPR. Examples of these requirements are registration and reporting duties, payment of an adequate EPR fee, physical obligations for take-back of products, design requirements, informing consumers and recyclers. But how do they best and most effectively stick to these requirements? There are usually two different ways to take collective or individual action. Either they can join or set up a producer responsibility organization, PRO, which complies to financial and physical obligations stated in the EPR law. Otherwise, individual producers' responsibility can be an option. In this case, individual actors have to establish independent EPR programs, submit plans on how to comply with the obligations, and fulfill the requirements on their own. In most countries such as South Africa, there are voluntary industry-led PROs for packaging waste management in the early stages of EPR. However, after a certain period of time, when the regulations should be known to all producers, it makes sense to force the industry to adopt binding collective solutions. The main obligation of collective PROs is to ensure the collection of an adequate, earmarked fee that covers the net costs of the entire waste management chain, such as costs for setting up a separate waste collection system, collection, transport, and treatment costs for separately collected waste, administrative costs, i.e. costs linked to the running of PROs, costs for public communication and awareness raising on waste prevention, litter reduction, separate collection, etc. Costs for the appropriate monitoring of the system. Apart from being a good funding mechanism for better waste management, EPR has many other secondary benefits if properly implemented. The secondary impacts of EPR, apart from better collection and recycling rates, are lower costs of waste collection for residents, changes in product design and upstream incentives, greater awareness of waste management among consumers, increased transparency and data collection mechanisms, better labor standards for the informal sector, and ultimately, conservation of valuable resources.